I've talked to you about James Baldwin. I've talked to you about Billy Porter. I've talked to you about capitalism, Black history. But have I tried to be James Baldwin? Try his writing routine? No one else has done this research before. And I've aggregated a list. I have his schedule. I'm actually kind of nervous because it just involves a lot of drinking and smoking, which we could talk about that after. The implications of the tortured, struggling, tragic artist. I know that James Baldwin usually would drink Johnny Walker Black Label blended whiskey. I actually learned this when I was in St. Paul de Vence doing an artist residency 2 years ago. What other way to start this video then? Oh. To Jimmy. Oh. Oh. I hope I can finish what I need to while I'm doing this. Okay. Well, let's do this.
And my life as a writer, which is also simply my life.
I write the essays, I write the books. And what you make of them is, what people make of those things is not up to me. I know that, in principle, a play or a novel, if it works, is much more dangerous for the writer and the reader. Oh, well, it depends on many things. Many people can fail to identify with people in another country. In fact, they do.
For those that don't know, James Baldwin is a famed Black queer writer that was born in 1924, went to Paris in 1948, published books like Go Tell It on the Mountain, Giovanni's Room, The Fire Next Time, Notes of a Native Son, If Beale Street Could Talk. And I'm in the middle of working on a book proposal, but I thought one thing that would make this book proposal more interesting while I'm drafting it over the next week is to spend a few days trying James Baldwin's writing routine. So I did do a bit of research about his writing routine to find out more about what were kind of the basics. He would wake up around noon. He would do work until around 5 or 6 p.m. And then he would invite friends over for drinks and talking. Usually they talk politics, writing, news, culture. And then typically he would leave for dinner around 8 or 9 p.m. Some places that he lived, he had a chef cooking for him, like when he was in St. Paul de Vence, France. Other times, him and his friends would just go out for dinner. And then after 8 or 9 p.m., he would return home late and write at the end of the night. And there are different kind of versions of this. Like I picked apart through different biographies or talks that Baldwin did, or writings or people that wrote about him. And the end of the night seems a little up in the air because sometimes he would just hang out at home and then wait until people left and then write at the very end of the night. Generally, I would kind of say James Baldwin probably went to bed around late night out. Because like if you're waiting until your friends leave and then you're writing at the end of the night at some points, it wouldn't make sense. They probably leave around 1 or 2 a.m. You're going to do a little bit of writing if you have the energy. But then his wake up time, oh my God, wake up at noon. Like, even for me, waking up at noon, I'm like, you want me to sleep until when? Honestly, I don't know if I can do this. Wake up at noon. Wake up at noon. What? I don't want to. With writing and artistry, there's so much about history and the way it's portrayed that you see an artist as a fully finished product, or you see their fully finished product, or you view them as someone who's acclaimed or a genius, but we don't really understand the steps along the way. And as a writer myself, I published my first book 2 years ago. I always say it's the behind the scenes work that matters. Like understanding the different routines, because some writers are healthier than others. Some writers have weird routines and ways that they write. Oh, we have a few tools for this thing. This thing is heavy. I bought this beautiful, beautiful typewriter. Can you see it? Can you see it? It's a Smith Corona electric typewriter. Oh Lord. Opening. There is a section where the painter Buford Delaney, who ends up being a longtime friend of James Baldwin, Hilton Alls writes the introduction and writes a reimagining of them meeting. As he put the finishing touches on a work, the doorbell rang, and there was Emily's friend. Skinny and bug-eyed, he had a face. The boy smiled. He was a boy, but a smart one, capable of assessing the situation, and saw loneliness in others and articulated it because he had words Buford didn't have. That was clear from the first. Through the gap in his front teeth, words hissed out like breath, simply yet intricately, Hi, I'm Emily's friend. Are you the artist? By saying so, this kid, Jimmy was his name, said that he was too an artist and that he was there to learn from Buford. And Buford could tell that Jimmy was an artist as the boy agreed to sit for him on their first date, as it were. He began to paint him, leaving the down there out. Let's just say that he could not face that, for to face that he would be to face what he wanted. What a strange, strong child, dying to be seen. Later, Buford learned that Jimmy's father had said he was ugly, another example of male foolishness and the wounding impulse. But in a forest, amid a riot of color and a density of so-called exotica, a kind of Henry Rousseau in a gay ghetto setting, and Buford wondered and wanted so much as he painted, and the boy did not turn away from him. Could this be the end of loneliness for them both? This sitting? Could they fold racism and hurt into each other's skin, in doing so find not so much freedom, but a lessening for their burden, a relative lightness that allowed them to be spirits, resting at last, resting and dancing and seeing the world and each other in a universe that when it saw them coming, for the most part, looked away. Honestly, I need to fact check something. So a few days ago, I was watching a lecture with the professor that's working on a book about Baldwin that's coming out in the next few years. And I listened to like 20 minutes of it. And the reason it was interesting is that it was talked about the makings of an icon. I've known about Buford Delaney for a while. Honestly, for the longest time, I thought it was a woman. If Baldwin met Buford Delaney when he was 16 and was painted naked, he was painted naked by a 35-year-old when he was 16. Did you hear me? Painted by a 35-year-old when you're 16? And here's what I'll even say with this. This is why research is necessary. See, everything depends on consent. Everything depends on coercion, power dynamics. The sexual politics of how queer people discover themselves when it's not approved or tolerated by the state. So many things can be happening. You're susceptible to so many things. And I think that baseline is what I want to say and how I read this in that lens. Because even for me, I've had early sexual experiences like when I was 17, 18, and in college with older people. And looking back, I'm kind of like, that was weird. It was weird. This seems weird to me. Oh, and I've taken some good notes. I definitely didn't read through as much of the introduction as I wanted later, but I'm also going to be doing some more reading and research, so working and talking with friends. I'm going to take a shower.
Posting, you can use PixelFed, and for regular blogging, you can use Plume or Write As. You can even say
severe, clear contradictions.
Awful when the sun would never set on. This is how big it was. Yet these 13 little scrawny states, tired of taxation.
That's a sign from God. My GoPro. I haven't used this in a while.
So have him disable. I'm always amazed.
Follow your face and change the angle. And I think those 360 cameras are cool. Yesterday, I would say I got a good amount of work done, but I also had a lot of other things to do. I think that's also the other thing when I read James Baldwin's writing routine. I don't really see like, oh, he was working on this and this and this, and he was teaching. And I feel like for me, depending on the time of year, I have to juggle a lot of things. Like right now, I'm actively juggling working on a book proposal, working on a lot of research for local organizing things. I'm doing other organizing things. Making content for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I also do a podcast. I just did another interview yesterday. I've been looking for a place to live. And so in a lot of these routines, I guess I don't really see like the malleability of these writers' lives unless they talk about it in like a major and intense way. And I know for myself, I need to juggle between tasks a lot. And yes, I've been trying to center on only working on Baldwin this week, but it just isn't really that possible in terms of all the other things I need to do, which is fine. But I think it's just one of those small things you don't really notice until you dig into it. And I'm kind of like, how did Baldwin handle all of the different things that he needed to do? Or was it he just like bad at it and would tend to like lean into hedonism, which I totally understand. I'm a hedonist. Okay, we're at Parable Coffee to do some work. I ordered some food and a coffee, and oh god. Now that we're here, I think I need to work on my book proposal and my essay. Yes. But first, some reading. Okay, here's a simple fact. I have done my work for the day. I'm not gonna do any more writing. I'm not gonna do any more fucking writing. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna drink. I feel good about the work I did today. Honestly, this is kind of proof to me that the writing days do feel different. And I think since I finished my novel, I did get a good number of hours in a day. I did stay focused. I got good work in. I broke new ground. Even though I didn't put words down, I feel good that I really kind of got into James Baldwin's mind a bit more, and it really gave me a lot to think about in terms of like this other essay that I mentioned. We're gonna have to finish this bottle. That's gonna be the end of this video. The end of this video is gonna be me finishing this bottle. I feel honored to be indebted to James Baldwin's legacy. I feel honored to be a part of it, to be able to critique it, to think about it, to analyze it. And it makes me proud to know that I've lived boldly enough that there are things in his life path, his journey, his way of being an artist that seem familiar and like home to me. And I think reading more about him, especially in these most recent books, it complicates his image to me in a way that I wasn't really expecting, meaning I want to dig into his suffering quite a bit more. And I don't mean to spectacleize it or monopolize it, but I mean to kind of draw an analogous line alongside my life. Because honestly, reading about his early sexual experiences, and there's a lot about his life, James Baldwin's life, that I have so much respect for. The country that he grew up in, the city that he grew up in, all of the homophobic violence he faced, the complicated ways that he entered bisexuality, queerness. I won't say that it's easier for me, but I am in a different period, and there are different issues, there are different struggles, and in a certain way, I am grateful for the struggles that I have because they allow me to look back at his life and to acknowledge the distance, the progress, what has changed, what has not changed. So it's just really just kind of overwhelming and beautiful. But honestly, this whiskey, I'm not mad about it. I don't think I'll work, but I will video edit. Maybe. I don't know. I'll see how long this video is. Drink number 10! Talking to each other about our love lives. I don't know if I want to do that yet, but I'm having fun. Currently, my second book is on submissions. I went on submission 6 days ago. 6 days. Those are crickets. I'm hearing crickets. Why hasn't anyone bought it? Am I not good enough? If my dream is to get published, that means I need to participate in capitalism in a certain way. And the submissions process is the... Oh my god, it's really ringing out. The submissions process is the most obvious contradiction for an anti-capitalist artist. It's like, I want to write narratives about radicalism, yet I'm trying to have a fucking white editor buy my book. Here's what we're ending with. I still have more of this. I don't want to fucking finish it. Sorry. And then also did get... Because honestly, Little Caesars, if you're on a budget, delivery is not the way. I do think there is a utility to it. When you dedicate time to your artistry every day, and then you also happen to dive into your hedonism, your feelings about your artistry intensifies. Like your feelings about your frustrations. I'm being more honest right now because I'm just like, what the fuck? Someone buy my second book. Here's my typewriter. And I am going to sit down and write a poem in James Baldwin's honor. First, we have to turn it on. I grew up using typewriters because I didn't grow up using typewriters. My grandma had a typewriter, and there's just something about seeing it in her house, opening up that box in her closet, sneaking to use it. I remember that the ribbon in it worked for a number of years. I have been thinking a lot lately about how meaningful writing has been to me in my life, and I was talking to my mom recently, and she told me a story about how when I was like in grade school, that at one point our teacher called for the end of class, and everyone left, and the bell rang, and I was still sitting at my desk for like 5 minutes continuing to read. So writing has followed me for so long, and I think, if anything, this writing routine has taught me that there will be ups and downs in life. There will be ups and downs in your writing life. But I think what truly matters in the end is that you know why you're doing it. And whether or not my book sells, whether or not it sells soon, or what's going to happen in terms of this update I have with my agent soon, I should be proud that I have been building a life for myself, writing things that I'm passionate about, and putting a lot of hard work into it. And I guess it did kind of suck yesterday when I was reading about James Baldwin. And when he published Go Tell It on the Mountain, he'd worked on it for 10 years. Is that what it takes? I can't fucking work on a book for 10 years. But let's get to typing.
But I mean, everybody's been in love. Everyone's had a love
Has
affair.
anyone been in love?
Everyone's had a love affair which has been threatened. Don't you think that's so?
Not on the basis of the evidence. If they have, they've forgotten it. You can't prove it by me that everyone's been in love. If everyone had been in love, they treat their children differently. They treat each other differently.
Yes, well, but perhaps that is one of the points in another country, which it seems to me as much about love as about anything else.
It is about love.
It's more. It is
It's about the price of love, too.
Another fact that I remember reading when reading God Made My Face yesterday is that when Baldwin turned in, I think it was Giovanni's Room, that he turned it in and he'd written and typewritten it on all sorts of napkins, surfaces, etc. And I think that's what's the cool thing about tactile machines like this. One, I will say this is the Smith Corona Electra 120. The way it feels when you type, the sound, it is so sexy. It is so fucking sexy. And I do remember a summer when I was working in Yellowstone, and that was one of the first summers where I really was writing a lot of poetry. I was journaling a lot. I was really, really journaling. And I remember working as a cashier and writing my poems and different scribblings and book ideas on different pieces of paper. Doing that, and when you're in like the place to really, really want to write, you'll write anywhere. You'll make it happen. It'll be in your brain. You'll be fighting it off of work or going to take your cigarette break or whatever it is to dictate or write. And so it's just really cool to feel this machine and to imagine what James Baldwin might have thought. Wait, what does this do? What was I looking at over here? What is this? Thank you for watching another video on my channel. These videos mean a lot to me, especially these more experimental ones. I've never done a video like this, so comment and let me know. Honestly, doing this video, I'm like, I struggled. I mean, I don't love waking up late. Me and James Baldwin kind of have the same schedule. So in some ways I was like, you do you and I'll do me. Like, I don't want to be drinking scotch every fucking day. I'd rather drink a beer. But thank you for watching. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to support my channel, become a channel member or become a Patreon member where you can get early access to videos or other exclusive videos as well. And consider picking up a copy of my new book, Black Radical Reader 1. See you later.